Leah from Santiago High School. She is doing her religion project. So she's interviewing a religious leader, and we're discussing things for kids her age in her high schools and getting their thoughts on some of the issues for California also.
So how has Christianity influenced your life?
Well, Christianity has changed my life in numerous ways. My way of living, my way of thinking, my ideology towards humankind, or compassion for humans, and having a more understanding, being more, let's just say, forgiving to certain situations. So it's helped me become a better person all the way around.
How has your work as a pastor changed the life of others?
Well, being a pastor, you wear many hats. You're a counselor, you are father, your mother, your best friend, your devil's advocate. You're all things above, but the best thing about being a pastor is helping people see God's view, why He sacrificed His Son, Jesus Christ, to help them forgive them for their sins. So in other words, it's not more or less what I do as a person, but it's a word that I share with the Lord and help them to have an understanding of how He wants them to live.
Have you ever taken a part in a missions trip? If so, can you describe your experience?
My first missions trip actually started in 1974 in Yokosuka, Japan. It was called Keep America Beautiful. It was a trip that had future leaders of America as kids travel to different continents, from Japan to Guam to Hawaii, and we spread the application of keeping not only Japan, but keeping America beautiful. It was a program, Keep America Beautiful, that was spread throughout the Orient. Even though most Orient countries, Asia, are very clean, they're very neat and organized, but we were just spreading the Keep America Beautiful over there. So that was one of my first big missionary trips as a child. It's probably my most memorable because we were able to travel, and it was something so simplistic, but it helped spread the word that we need to keep our country beautiful, our world beautiful.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Have you been a Christian all your life?
I was raised Catholic.
Oh. Okay.
My brother's a Catholic priest currently. My mother's still pronoun Catholic. My sisters are Catholic. I have one sister that's Christian, one brother that is Christian, and obviously I am Christian. But growing up in a Catholic home, a Catholic background, being Catholic and Christianity really has a lot of similarities. I just believe that Christianity has evolved. Being Catholic is pretty much of the past. I mean, they still have views and ideologies that they have not been able to change. Life changes. Evolution of time and humanity and humankind, we have to have different outlooks on certain things. Because times have changed, Christianity has been able to evolve to where it is now. It's ever-changing, I believe. The Bible gives us scriptures as far as 200 years back, but when you read them now, they have a different meaning to today's understanding. So I think being a Christian, being Catholic, has a lot of similarities, but Christianity has evolved to a certain evolution to where modern America, or modern the world, whatever you want to put it, can relate to having religious beliefs that are more understanding and as far as what's going on in America now.
How does God motivate you on a daily basis?
Wow, that's an extremely hard question because, like you said, it is a daily basis. I don't do anything anymore without conversing with Him. Before, as a leader, I made all the decisions myself. I knew what was right and I knew what was wrong, and the world was going to know what I thought was right and what I was wrong, and if you didn't believe my way, then you're wrong. Now it's totally different. God chooses all my paths on everything. I mean, even as simplistic as eating, should I eat that junk food or should I eat that junk food, So He has a reflection on me on a daily basis, 24 hours a day. I don't do anything without consoling to Him first. Now, I don't say, God, should I drink a soda or not? But I do say, God, can you try to help me eat a little healthy today? I have cravings for junk food and I want you to, guide me down a better path. So He, in turn, makes all my decisions all day long.
Could you describe the first time you felt God's guidance?
I tell you, it's a great story. Like I said, being a 5-time world champion and head of the organization, the Soul Collectors, for so many years, an organization my father had started. I was actually in a kitchen at my gym. I had a kitchen in my gym, and I had all my dogs around me. And I just, I had everything. I had a Lamborghini, I had airplanes, I mean, had the most beautiful women in my life, I was the champion, I was in movies, but none of that put peace in my heart. And the constant search for material things, or stature, or respect, is what I thought what success was. But lo and behold, success is closing your eyes at night with peace in your heart, and waking up the next morning with peace in your heart, and a goodness about yourself. And I was in the kitchen cooking, and all the dogs came around me. And I had 2 Chihuahuas, a pit bull at the time, and they were all around me. And I'm like, none of you guys are going to get any of this food. This is all for me. Get out of here. They were just all just sitting there. And they didn't move. It was the craziest thing. And I told them all, none of you are going to get any of this. And then I just broke down in tears. I broke down. That was the breaking point of, the Soul Collector. That was the breaking point, realizing that there is somebody mightier than I, or mightier than I, should I say, a bigger, higher power. And that's when I got on my knees and I said, God, I'm tired. I'm tired. And if it's God, I want to say God. If it's Jesus, I want to say Jesus, or Buddha, whoever it is, I want to say, whoever it is that they're looking after me, I'm tired. And you're right. I'm not in control. And that very instant, I gave myself to the Lord. And then the next step forward, got into American Fellowship, started my Bible studies, and the rest is history now.
Wow. What is a memory of your church that you cherish to this day?
I tell you, it has to even go back farther than something in a current church. Well, I have 2 actual stories. One, as a child, I just was at a point, I think I was about 12 or 13, just becoming 13, and I just did not want to go to Sunday Mass anymore. I just figured I didn't need it. It was like church all week long, and Sunday just, I wanted to play football on Sunday. My guys were playing football, my friends, and they weren't going to church. I was the only one pretty much in the block that was, affiliated with church and was going to church, and I wanted to play football with them on Sundays. And they played at 11, and Mass started at 10. So I was always trying to rush out of Mass to get there. And then one day I absolutely refused. I wasn't going to go to church, whatever. My mom looked at me and said, you know what, that's fine, don't go. So I said, yeah, girlfriends, I'm coming to play football. I was so excited. I wasn't going to church. I'm going to play football. I don't have to rush. I'm there. I go out there, the first play, the first game. I'm so excited. I break my ankle. Break my ankle. So there was no cell phones at that time. There's no pagers. There's no nothing. And my friends carry me home, and I'm sitting on the porch waiting for my mom to come back home from church with a broken ankle. Comes back in and she tells me, you see, God says there's a time and place for everything. And that wasn't your time, and it wasn't your place. So that was one big breaking point for me that kept me motivated in the Lord's eyes. And then right when I had met my wife-to-be, we went to church, and I was taking her to church. I think I was still being selfish, like still trying to help the world. And like, oh, I'm part of God, and I'm going to get everybody in church. But it was me taking credit for all that. And I took her to church. I took her to Cottonwood Church. It's a great church for new believers to go, because it's not about pounding the Bible down your throat. It's about song and dance and life experiences and whatnot. And she went to church, and I was feeling good, like, look, I brought this hot chick to church. I can change and fix everybody. And she had her moment there, and she broke down. And I realized that at that point that it's not me. Again, it's not me. It's God. And I'm just a messenger for Him. And those are 2 of the most significant times that God has touched my life, to realize that there's a higher power. And I'm simply just a tool to help that happen.
Why did you become a pastor?
Well, like I told you before, I didn't have peace. I didn't know what peace was. I thought peace was when I bought both airplanes. I thought peace was when I was the world champion. I thought peace was when I'm dating all the hottest Victoria's Secret models. I thought peace was when I walked in the door and people would just put their heads down in fear because I was so almighty. I thought that is what success and peace was. And it took 41 years to understand that that's not what peace is. Having people fear you or look up to you because of your accolades is truly not success. Success, in my heart, is that you go to bed at night with peace in your heart. You wake up with humility in the morning, and you're happy just to be breathing and be alive and being able to give somebody wholeheartedly. I'll give you an example. So as an organization, being the leader of the soul collectors, I constantly wanted to empower my men, which I thought was empowering. But if one of them got short on rent, and say their rent was $700, I'd give them $650. Just not quite enough. And then I would hold it against them every day that I had to do that for them, that they're failing as a leader, da-da-da-da-da. And now if somebody needs something, if they ask me, I just give it wholeheartedly. I don't expect nothing in return because that's not the reason why I'm giving it. Now, of course, I'm not going to drain all my money and say, here, just take all my money, of course. I mean, it's not about that, but if I'm going to be able to give it to you, I'm giving it to you because I don't expect it back, and I'm wholeheartedly trying to help you. Those are two big changing points in my life. And I think, most importantly, that is what made me who I am today. And I believe that I've become a better leader because of that. And I was worried, who am I going to lead? Who's going to follow me now? And lo and behold, I become the mayor of Lucerne Valley. I do that, which is unbelievable. Then I run for office of the director of schools, in other words, the board of trustees for the whole San Bernardino County School District. The newspapers say I'm not going to get elected. I have a tattoo on my face. I'm an ex-fighter that are uneducated. Lo and behold, we get elected. Not only do we get elected, we set a record for the most electoral votes ever for a candidate in San Bernardino County. Set big goals. I finished my master's degree through CSBA in 8 months. 8 months. Unbelievable. Never been done before. Out of the, I believe, 211 people I believe started, there was 4 that completed it.
Wow.
You know, in that amount of time. So it was me asking God, who am I going to lead now? What am I going to do now? I'm not the world champion. I'm not beating people up. People are not walking in fear of me. I'm not just this overpowering leader where I'm leading people by fear. So now it's a whole different realm. So now God has said, look, this is the plan. I put you through all this to make you become who you are now. And that's when I talk to like men's groups, and I talk to them, don't despise what you've done in the past, because there's always a reason for it. God wants you to make mistakes to build you for who you are. None of us are perfect. He sent His own Son down here to sacrifice His own Son for all of our sins and our mistakes. So it's okay to make a mistake, because that's part of growing up. But knowingly understanding that you're actively trying to make the right decision is where the boundary is. It's okay to fail, because God's going to continue to pick you up, and your failures are going to be your success. And I tell people all the time, if you haven't failed at anything, you're not doing nothing. Because if you're not failing, you're not trying, right? So don't let your failures put you down. Let your failures empower you. And now look at, you're speaking with the gubernatorial incumbent to run for governor of California in 2018. I mean, it's just unbelievable, God's plan. Just understand that He has a plan and kind of go with it.
If a non-Christian were to ask you why terrorism, wars, and violence occurred in the world when God condemns this, how would you respond to that?
Very tricky question. And I'll share with you what I share with everybody about terrorist act, about even someone killing somebody with a car or doing things like that. God's circumstances and God's plan for every situation that happens has a reason or meaning behind it. It may look as a very gruesome act at the time, but for every tree that has fallen, there's another one that has gained or grown. In other words, if this tree gets chopped down and the branches hit the ground and it spreads pollen across the land, it may grow 10 more trees. And sometimes God needs to teach us in certain situations or certain manners how to understand something or understand a way of life and or push us towards Him even closer because of those situations or instances. it's a very tricky question, and it's probably the question that's asked most of all. Well, if God loved me so much, why did I crash my car? Or if God loves me so much, why don't I have any money in my pocket? Well, if God loves me so much, why am I single and I can't find the right mate? Well, those things are happening because you're truly not giving yourself to the Lord yet. And once you give yourself to the Lord, He will show you the reasons why, all those answers or all those trials and tribulations He put you through.
If you were not a follower of God, where do you think you would be now?
Miserable. I talk about success in so many different fashions. If I didn't have the Lord, yeah, I'd probably still have some things. I'd probably have cars and still have businesses and doing all that. But I figured out that really wasn't a success for me. That's material success, which people strive for because of California and the world and what we see on TV. We're 90% visual, and we want those things because we see those people on TV with Ferraris and Corvettes and big houses, and they look so happy. But really, they're not. They're truly not. And there's so many people that I counsel and talk to that have all those things, but they don't have that inner peace because they're so focused on striving for the success or the accolades of success or the material things of success that they don't look for that true inner peace and the true inner heart within themselves. So I'd probably still be fighting like an idiot, damaging my body, and still trying to control people like a dictator. I'd probably still be doing that. But thank God I'm not.
So according to the Bible, if you repent, you go to heaven, even if you were a sinner your entire life. How is that fair to Christians who live their whole lives following God's way?
Well, if you live your whole life following God's way, that's a blessing. Because you didn't go through the pain and heartache that these sinners did. We look at sinners that, gosh, this guy, he's sleeping with these women, he's stealing cars, he's killing people, he's doing this. There's a price that comes with that. And a price that I've shared with you, that inner peace that's not there. So it's not that they're not paying for their sins, because every time they sin, they pay for it in a different manner or a fashion. Because you live a Christian life and you do things so right, well, there's a benefit to that. There's that inner peace that you don't realize that you possess and realize that you have, because those people that are making those sins, they're dealing with those sacrifices, and they're dealing with that pain, and they're dealing with their heartache. It's a blessing that you don't have to. And for those that are not going through that, I hug them and put my hats off to them that they don't have to experience these things, because sinners have it bad. Yeah, they may be robbing the fruits, and taking what's not theirs, but there's a price for that. And I tell people all the time, be blessed that you have not had to fall down that path. Devil's temptation is going to be there every day, in anything you do. It could be, as simple as reading a book and skipping a couple pages because you're trying to get to the next thing. I mean, that's kind of, a far sight of a sin, but I mean, we skip and we have trials and tribulations on a daily basis. Some are a lot more than others. Some are very minuscule, and some are very excessive. But those sins that you make, you will pay for those. You will pay for those, definitely.
What is your point of view on other religions' gods?
So, when I first gave myself to God, I told you the story that I said, God, Buddha, the Quran, whoever it is up there, I'm not happy. So, step into my life and teach me and show me. One of my theses and things are working on my biblical studies that if you look at a wide variety of all the Bibles, the Quran, I mean, just everything, there's basic things in every religion that all religions have. You shall not kill. You shall not steal. You shall not lie. You shall not commit adultery. So what I say is that maybe as evolution has come up that there is one superior being. But we as individuals and different communities in different environments may have perceived that entity in our own special way. So I don't try to diversify Buddhism, Christianity, being Catholic. I believe that you have a common respect for whatever it is, religion, that you follow. Because for the most part, a lot of the religions have a lot of similarities. So that means somewhere along the line that there was one entity, but we all perceive them in different ways and fashions. So if you're Buddha, that's fine. You pray the way you want to pray. I still embrace you because there's a belief, you have a belief that there's a higher being and that you're going to do good in life. So I don't ever knock any religion or the other. I just embrace it. I embrace it all. And I tell them, you share your religion with me, and I share mine with yours. That's the great thing about Christianity. It's evolved, and it's open-minded. I want to listen to what you have to say. I want to listen to what your beliefs are. I want to share my beliefs with your beliefs, and somewhere along the way, if either one of your beliefs help each other, then great. That's great for the day. For me, religion, there shouldn't be any black and white. There should be evolution. There should be humanity and mankind. I am a pastor with American Fellowship. I am Christian. But I am also a believer of all religions. And I want to embrace all religions because I believe that's all part of humanity and mankind, that if we continue to diversify and put labels and everything, like this race, Democrat or Republican or liberal. Yes, I'm a Republican. But, you know, most importantly, I'm a Californian. And I want to do what's right for California. I don't need to identify myself with a certain name or a certain tag. I want to identify myself as a human for California that wants to lead great for Californians. So getting back to that, I embrace all religions. I really do. And I try to share my religion or my beliefs with other religions and listen to theirs also.
Do you think there would be fewer wars if religions did not exist, or more wars?
You know, I don't believe that religion causes wars. I believe they use religion as an excuse to be a part of a resolution of something, or they use religion as a pathway towards something. I don't think that there'd be more wars or less wars without it. I do think that if we strive more towards humanity and understanding of mankind itself, that there'll just be less conflict, in a sense. That's a big belief of mine. I don't want to keep going back to this governor thing, but just there's so much that's going on with it. That's a big part of it, that we're continuing to identify with name tags. And if we stop identifying with name tags and identify with mankind, humanity, and what's right for humanity, I just think everything would be a lot smoother and less controversial.
And finally, do you have any advice that you would like to give kids my age in high school and my teachers as well?
Love to give you guys advice, and I'm giving advice all the time. I don't take credit for it anymore, though. That was one big thing for myself, that I used to take credit for all the advice I give. The advice I give now, or the inspiration I give now, comes from God. And that to share with you guys that there's going to be trials and tribulations. There's going to be the devil's advocate on your shoulder, sometimes to take the shortcut or sometimes to try something different. And it's okay to have that thought. It's okay to think about that. Think about that, process it, and then make the decision upon that thought that, you know what, yeah, this sounds kind of good, yeah, it looks kind of good, yeah, my friends are doing it, but you know what, I'm going to take this other path. And it's okay. But it's okay to embrace it. I mean, a lot of the teachers, oh, don't think about that, don't do this, don't do that. That's not the way to correct anything. When something bad comes your way, or when something that's not proper that comes your way, analyze it and think about it. And in yourself, you can make that right decision to be that leader, not that follower in that situation. So don't fear from bad decisions, analyze bad decisions and think about them, and then move forward that way. So always remember, to the people, with the people, for the people. You better ask somebody.